Yet we are not taking full advantage. So thank you for the Tree Crop Development Authority. But if we innovate, even under the current circumstances, I think the opportunities outweigh the cost. The cost of fuel will be so high because it's our farming, our kind of agri minister. We have always said that little drops of water make a mighty ocean. Little drops of water under certain conditions evaporate. They don't make even a river. Our agriculture must move from the little drops to large scale. Otherwise,
to that extent, I'll say that government policy dating back in 1976 fundamentally was contributing a huge contributor to the setup of the plantation. But that from that time onwards, it's been largely private sector. And as you know, our company is listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange, and we are a subsidiary of a multinational company, which itself is very big into oil palm plantations and the agribusiness in Asia. So we have that support from the bigger scale. But on the local scale, we also have a management team, and that is very competent, all Ghanaian, trained here, like myself. So we think that it's a combination of all of these, but largely it has been the strategy of the private sector majority shareholder of having a vertical integration. So we produce the palm oil, and all we have to focus to do is to cultivate the oil palm, produce the palm oil, and then downstream is the refinery, where all the fritol that you are familiar with, your favorite fritol comes from. So we are vertically integrated. We produce in the from the upstream the palm oil, and it goes to the downstream where they refine it to produce the fritol cooking oil, and also the soaps and the margarines. So that integration makes the whole thing very stable, instead of just standing in one single file, which makes it less stable. So that's the strategy I think has worked. So the Oil Palm Development Association, we have an association of all the actors in the palm oil value chain. Let me say that the amount of palm oil that is produced in Ghana, the part that is consumed directly, is very small. It will surprise you, because a lot of the palm oil goes into soap making, it goes into the refined one. So those that tend to put the dye, it's a Sudan 4 dye in the palm oil, just to enhance the color, but they got it wrong. The thing is, the processing method by which they come by the palm oil, it still has a certain level of free fatty acid, which then reduces the orange color. In fact, the color of natural palm oil comes from the carotenes that is in it. In fact, the oil palm is very rich with carotenes, what is in carrots, you know. So the high free fatty acid that ends up in the production in some of the small scale producers makes the palm oil color a bit dark, and they then put in the dye to enhance it. Even that one, it's mostly not the producers, it is those who sell, who buy from the processing stations to the market. They put the dye in the containers, and the processors just fill the container, the gallons, and as the trucks are moving, it is spreading the color. But we have actually worked with the Food and Drugs Authority. We have sensitized our members. We have told them how bad it is, because it's not good for health. And actually, our Artisanal Oil Millers Association, they have worked on, they are trying to formalize that sector, so that you don't just go and buy palm oil without a label. You don't know where it was produced. You can't know manufacturer's name, manufacture date, and see numbers that you can trace back to who produced it. So sooner or later you see that to buy palm oil in the market for your contemporary and okra stew, you have to pick one that has a label, it has a manufacturer, where they are located, so you can trace them, so that if there's a problem, we know how to trace. So that's how we are going to systematically phase out the palm oil that is unregulated, with no label, and therefore the chance that this dye can be emit and then they go through.
For AGI, I'm the VP for Large Scale Manufacturing. My name is Ashok Mohinani. At the moment, there's quite a lot of speculation. I think the biggest issue is the currency. I believe it's crossed over, we're nearly touching 15. And I think probably more communication of what is happening would be helpful. A lot of the input costs have gone up, and many of the manufacturers are facing issues on sustainability, on whether they will be able to sustain the cost of the high cost of manufacturing, as well as even be alive. So that's a real concern. Today, there was a clear communication on agriculture policy, and I think that communication will sort of slow down or help on what exactly is happening, on the currency side. That will help calm nerves. Food security, from what we saw, there's quite a lot of inputs locally. From the presentation you saw from the Minister of Agri. So from homegrown solutions, not really, but the cost is an issue for what is imported because of commodity prices outside as well as the exchange rate. We see a high cost of inputs. So it'll be at a cost.
Talking about food insecurity, somewhere
we have not engaged them yet. I have not read that article, so I'm not really at an authority to comment on that one. Again, agriculture, and because cocoa is sort of managed by Ministry of Agriculture and Cocoa Board, my sort of know-how and knowledge is from private sector industries. So I would know what's happening in the cocoa processing industries, i.e., the chocolate area. For those who are exporting, obviously, with the currency rate the way it is, it's far more beneficial to them. But the importers, which we are a net importing country, a lot of the inputs for other manufacturers are imported, and that is where there's a lot of issues and concerns on high output and how you can pass those costs on. As far as the actual cocoa season and higher output, unfortunately, I'm not in the position, or I don't have the information to comment on that.
finally,
Galamsey affects us all, on the environment as well as the clean water. We hear there's a lot of issues on quality water in those regions. So that's certainly an area of concern, as well as polluting and destroying the environment. So that's an issue for everyone.
Strategically, we think the benchmark is very relevant. We believe government moving from pre-production tax to post-production tax. And therefore, we are excited that government is pushing the agenda of the EVAT. There's a lot of loophole there. There's a lot of loophole there that we believe that if government will step up and create the technology to support that cause, aiding. And we've been stating to government many times, expand the tax, and the VAT is a wonderful space. We pray they can do it. Give them the support that is needed. Once that is successful, we will pray that government to restructure the VAT levies. The VAT structure has a levy component. Once this is successful, we pray government to relook at it. So we do a direct input VAT and output VAT. And with that, the productive sector will bump. And then the extent of import will drop. We only import a lot of intermediary products for value addition, job creation, and government will tax the chain. This is what we propose.